A profound insight from the annals of wisdom, recorded nearly a century ago, offers a perspective on departing in one's sleep that is so transformative, it can shift our entire understanding of life's journey. Ancient teachings hold timeless truths about consciousness that many of us may never encounter. And the perspective I am about to share with you has been a quiet truth, held within philosophical traditions for generations. Before we explore the depths of this understanding, I invite you to join our community on this path of discovery. The insights that follow are drawn from a deep well of human experience, and they have the power to forever change your view on sleep, life's transitions, and the path of your awareness. This is not mere speculation. It is a shared wisdom passed down through those who have looked deeply into the nature of our existence. Have you ever contemplated why some people appear to find such a tranquil passage in their sleep, while others do not? Have you ever journeyed to a place in your dreams that felt so vivid, you awoke questioning its reality? Perhaps you've known the strange feeling of observing your own sleeping form from above. Ancient wisdom suggests that these experiences are all threads in a single, beautiful tapestry. They are gently guiding you toward an awareness of something far more expansive than you know. Over our time together, I will share 7 insights inspired by these timeless teachings, which will transform how you perceive sleep and life's final transition. First, a deep insight into what your awareness truly does while your body rests, and its importance for your inner growth. Second, an understanding, drawn from timeless parables, that transitioning in sleep is a far gentler process than imagined. Third, the profound wisdom of why some spirits seem to choose this peaceful path and what it suggests about their journey. Fourth, an exploration of the vital life thread and how it behaves during sleep versus our final release. Fifth, shared human experiences of connecting with departed loved ones in the final moments of sleep. Sixth, the intrinsic link between the practice of stillness and a serene departure in sleep. And seventh, practical ways to prepare your own awareness for its eventual, natural journey onward. First, consider a powerful story from many years ago. It speaks of a woman who, after a long period of failing health, passed away with serene grace in her sleep. The insight shared about her journey was so profound it brought a deep silence to those who heard it. The wisdom revealed that this woman's spirit had been preparing for its journey for many months. It had been using the state of sleep to gently grow accustomed to higher, more peaceful states of being. And here is the insight that can change our perspective entirely. This teaching explained that for half a year, she had been attending what could be called a school for the soul during her sleep. On these nightly journeys, her awareness would travel to realms of deep peace. There, wise guiding spirits would teach her about the process of transition, reveal the beauty of the life beyond, and help her to release all fear about letting go of her physical form. And the insight deepens. Wisdom traditions teach that in our deepest states of rest, our awareness naturally frees itself from the physical vessel. It travels in the space that exists between the material world and the realms of pure spirit. This is not a metaphor or a poetic idea. There are countless accounts of individuals who, during their sleep, would connect with relatives who had already passed on. They received comfort and gentle guidance, preparing them for their own eventual transition. Now, you may feel this is simply an interpretation, but remember, these understandings come from a place of deep observation of the human condition, witnessed and shared by thoughtful people from all walks of life. These are not just tales. They are reflections of a truth that many have experienced and validated for themselves. Here is a perspective that changes everything about our view of departing during sleep. It is understood that the spirit does not suddenly extinguish when the body ceases to function. Instead, it is described as a gradual release, where awareness slowly and gently withdraws from the physical shell. This can happen over hours or even days before the final moment of physical release. The process, it is taught, is so gentle and seamless that the individual may not even be aware they are transitioning until they are already fully embraced by the spiritual realm. This helps us understand why caretakers often notice that those nearing a peaceful end seem to be in conversation with unseen presences. They might speak to family members who have passed, describe beautiful landscapes they are seeing, or show a sense of peace about going to a wonderful place. These teachings suggest these people are already beginning their journey, met by spiritual guides and loving presences who help them make the crossing. Now for a point that may cause you to rethink the very nature of sleep itself. An ancient teaching proposes that every single night, when you go to sleep, you are in essence rehearsing for your final release. Your awareness departs from your physical form, journeys through non-physical dimensions, and then returns. The only distinction between this nightly journey and our final one is that during sleep, the life thread that connects our awareness to our body remains whole, allowing us to return. Ponder this for a moment. How often have you had a dream that was so incredibly vivid, so lifelike, you awoke wondering if it truly took place? How many times have you dreamt of landscapes you've never visited, yet they felt more real than your own room? According to these deep insights, such experiences are not mere fabrications of a resting mind. They are genuine journeys your awareness undertakes while your body is renewed. An old story tells of a man who was deeply afraid of passing in his sleep. He had been experiencing recurring dreams of being in breathtaking, ethereal places, meeting beings he'd never seen but felt a deep connection to. These dreams were so tangible that he would awaken feeling more profoundly rested and at peace than ever before. Yet, they filled him with a quiet fear about their meaning. The wisdom shared was that this man's spirit had a natural gift for conscious travel during sleep. What he was experiencing were true visits to the peaceful realms where awareness goes after it leaves the body. The beings he was meeting were evolved souls, teaching him about higher dimensions of being. Instead of something to be feared, these nightly journeys were a beautiful preparation for his own soul's continuing evolution. But there is an even more remarkable insight as to why some souls choose to transition during this state of rest. Timeless wisdom explains that departing during sleep is often the spirit's way of avoiding the anxiety and resistance that can disrupt a smooth spiritual journey. The spirit, acting through its own deeper knowing, can influence the timing of its release to a point where the conscious mind's fears are quieted. This completely shifts our perspective on passing in sleep. Rather than viewing it as a random event, these teachings suggest it is often a profound sign of spiritual readiness and inner wisdom. The soul, in its boundless intelligence, chooses the gentlest current for its voyage into higher states of being. Let me share a classic parable that perfectly illustrates this point. Many years ago, a daughter was concerned for her aging father, who for months had been speaking of what he called visiting dreams. In these dreams, his own wife, who had passed on, would appear to him. She would guide him through beautiful gardens and peaceful scenes, always telling him not to be afraid of the journey ahead. A wise perspective revealed that his wife's spirit was indeed visiting him, preparing him for his own crossing. The wisdom explained she was showing him the spiritual lands where they would be reunited, helping him to see that this transition was not an end, but a beautiful new beginning. 3 weeks later, the father passed gently in his sleep. His daughter said he wore a smile, as if he were greeting a cherished old friend. She later shared that in his final days, her father seemed more tranquil than he had in years. He often spoke of the wonderful places he was visiting in his dreams and expressed his happiness about seeing his wife again. The night before his passing, he told his daughter, "Your mother is waiting for me in the most beautiful garden. Do not be sad when I go to her tomorrow." Here is what these teachings reveal about the actual process of this transition that most people are unaware of. It is understood that awareness doesn't just abruptly depart. Instead, there can be what you might call practice journeys that occur for weeks or even months beforehand. During these times, the soul becomes more and more comfortable existing without the physical body. It learns to navigate spiritual spaces and prepares for its permanent voyage. But here is the part that offers deep comfort. Some wisdom traditions teach that individuals may even choose their moment of departure during sleep, having received a form of spiritual intuition about the perfect timing for their soul's growth. This timing can be in harmony with natural cycles, spiritual milestones, or the completion of important life lessons. Think about the meaning of this. Your loved ones who departed peacefully in their sleep were not subject to chance. From this perspective, they were aligning with spiritual guides and a higher wisdom to ensure their transition happened at the ideal moment for their soul's path and inner development. Now, you may be reflecting upon your own experiences in sleep and what they might signify for your own spiritual path. These traditions address this with great depth, offering detailed guidance for those who wish to understand their own nightly journeys. It is said that individuals who have vivid, meaningful dreams or a sense of leaving their body during sleep are often souls with a deep spiritual connection and a natural gift for conscious awareness. These experiences are not simply random brain activity. They are authentic spiritual voyages that serve as a preparation for your soul's continuing evolution and conscious growth. Certain souls, the teachings say, are born with a specific gift for traveling consciously in their sleep. These are often the people who report dreams of flying, visiting faraway places, or speaking with loved ones who have passed. Rather than ignoring these events as mere dreams, we are encouraged to give them our attention as genuine spiritual experiences. And there is something more, a connection between sleep, transition, and spiritual awakening that is often overlooked. It is taught that the practice of meditation or prayer before resting can profoundly enhance the soul's capacity for conscious travel during sleep. This, in turn, makes the eventual transition much more peaceful and aware. This is why so many spiritual paths place importance on evening contemplation. These practices are not just for calming the mind. They are a form of training for conscious spiritual journeying and, eventually, a conscious final transition. When you enter a state of stillness before you sleep, you are fundamentally preparing your awareness to stay present during the natural separation that occurs when the body rests. Let me share one more story that perfectly captures this. In a spiritual community, a beloved member who had dedicated her life to meditation passed away peacefully in her sleep. Her serene transition led the group to seek a deeper understanding of the connection between her spiritual work and her gentle passing. The wisdom that came forth was that her many years of meditation and spiritual focus had prepared her awareness to remain completely lucid and engaged during her transition. This allowed her to not only pass peacefully, but to help guide other souls who were also crossing at that time. Her dedication to inner growth had allowed her the grace of becoming what one might call a transition guide, making the journey from physical to spiritual existence a more gentle path for others. Here is what transforms everything about how you can approach your own sleep and spiritual preparation. Every single night offers you a chance to practice conscious spiritual journeying. It's an opportunity to connect with inner guides and teachers, and to prepare your own consciousness for its evolution beyond the physical form. Your sleep is not just a rest period for your body. It's a place of higher learning for your soul. Specific guidance exists for those who wish to cultivate a more conscious awareness during their sleep. You can keep a journal to honor your spiritual experiences. You can practice stillness before sleep to enhance your conscious projection. And you can hold the intention to remember and learn from the spiritual journeys that happen while you rest. The teachings also emphasize the importance of creating a sanctuary for this spiritual travel. Your sleeping environment, your state of mind before rest, and your inner preparation all shape the quality and clarity of your nightly spiritual journeys. And now, for the most profound insight about departing peacefully in your sleep. It is often understood that souls who transition this way do so because they have completed their earthly lessons and are truly ready for the next stage of their spiritual path. Their peaceful departure is, in essence, a graduation, not a sad event. It is a sign that the soul has successfully finished its worldly curriculum and is now prepared for advanced learning in higher realms. This completely reframes how we might see the passing of loved ones in their sleep. Rather than viewing it as sudden, we can recognize it as a signal of spiritual fulfillment and conscious choice. The soul, in its great wisdom, has concluded that its earthly learning is complete and has chosen the most serene path of transition. It is also taught that souls who pass this peacefully often remain as guides and teachers for those of us still in our physical embodiment. Their gentle transition enables them to keep a strong connection to our realm while operating from higher dimensions, making them perfect helpers for those of us still learning our life's lessons. Now, let us explore the idea of the life thread and its function in sleep versus our final transition. This is often described as the energetic tether that allows our consciousness to travel beyond the physical body during sleep, while always maintaining the ability to return. This thread, mentioned in ancient texts, is a true energetic link that connects our physical self to our spiritual self. During sleep, this life thread is elastic. It stretches to permit our consciousness to journey to distant places, while staying anchored to our physical form. In our final transition, this cord is consciously released by the soul when it is ready to permanently move into its spiritual existence. It is taught that this release is always an intentional act by the soul itself, never an accident. There are stories of people who have experiences of being near the final transition during sleep, yet are drawn back to their physical body because the life thread remains whole. Their soul has determined their earthly path is not yet finished. These people often speak of moving through a tunnel towards a great light, meeting departed loved ones, and being told that it is not their time to stay. And there is a remarkable insight about advanced souls and their connection with this life thread. It is taught that spiritually developed individuals can learn to consciously work with this connection, allowing for more expansive and lucid spiritual journeys during sleep. These people can become living bridges between the physical and spiritual worlds, bringing back valuable wisdom and guidance for humanity. We must also address what happens to consciousness right after the life thread is released. It is said that awareness does not immediately lose all connection to the physical plane. Instead, there is a period of adjustment. The newly transitioned soul learns to navigate purely spiritual dimensions while still being aware of their loved ones in the physical world. This period of adjustment, it is revealed, is why so many people report sensing the presence of a loved one who has recently passed. It's why they receive signs or feel their guidance during difficult times. The newly freed soul is learning to communicate from the spiritual realms, offering comfort and support to those who are still on their physical journey. Let me share one final parable that shows this so beautifully. A woman was filled with sorrow after the unexpected passing of her husband in his sleep. In a moment of deep contemplation, an insight came to her. Her husband's spirit was actually trying to reach her during her own state of sleep, to offer her comfort and to show her that his transition had been serene and beautiful. She was encouraged to pay attention to her dreams and to trust the feeling of connection she was receiving from her husband. The bond of love between two souls, she understood, extends far beyond physical transition. Her husband was using their shared love as a bridge to stay in contact and support her through her time of grief. Now let us explore the wisdom of preparing for a conscious departure through our spiritual practice. It is taught that those who dedicate themselves to inner development during their lives are actively preparing their consciousness for an eventual, aware transition. This preparation involves learning to release the identification with our physical selves, while staying fully rooted in our spiritual identity. Several specific practices are recommended for this. A daily meditation helps your consciousness grow comfortable operating on its own, independent of the body. contemplation, and spiritual study open your awareness to spiritual dimensions and truths. Acts of service to others help cultivate the qualities of the soul that are needed for a higher spiritual existence. And conscious attention to your dream life gives you direct, practical experience in spiritual travel and communication. It is revealed that souls who pass consciously in their sleep often do so because they have mastered these very practices during their lifetime. Their conscious transition becomes the final, beautiful expression of their spiritual growth. It shows they have learned to identify with their timeless, spiritual nature rather than their temporary, physical existence. And here is something that may inspire you about these teachings. It is said that some souls may even choose lifetimes where they know they will transition in their sleep. They do this because this method of passing allows them to serve as a calming example and a source of peace for others. Their tranquil departures help to lessen the fear of this great journey for all who learn of their experience. These souls, it is explained, often come here with a specific purpose to demonstrate the beauty and serenity of a conscious spiritual transition. Their lives and their passings serve as lessons for others who are growing spiritually and learning about the true, boundless nature of our being. The timing of a departure in sleep is never random. It is always in harmony with the greater spiritual law and the soul's own evolutionary path. This timing often aligns with the completion of life lessons, the achievement of spiritual goals, or the most supportive conditions for the soul's next great phase of learning. As we bring this exploration of profound wisdom to a close, let's reflect on the practical meaning of these insights for your own inner development and preparation. According to these timeless teachings, you can start preparing right now for your own conscious journey onward. You do this by developing the same practices that help your awareness travel during sleep. Consistent meditation, spiritual contemplation, serving others, and paying mindful attention to your dream experiences all contribute to your soul's readiness for its eventual, beautiful graduation. Death is not something we should fear. It is something to prepare for with awareness and even joy. It is described as the soul's graduation from a primary school to a place of advanced spiritual learning in higher dimensions of being. It is also revealed that souls who consciously prepare for this journey during their life often experience a more beautiful and expansive spiritual life after their transition. Their preparation allows them to immediately enter higher spiritual realms and engage in more advanced forms of service to other souls. Remember, according to the deep wisdom of the ages, departing in your sleep is not random. It is not a tragedy, and it is never something to be feared. It is often the choice of a wise soul who has completed its earthly lessons and is ready for the next magnificent adventure into spiritual existence. The next time you lie down to rest, remember this perspective. You are not just resting your body. You are embarking on a spiritual journey. This journey serves as preparation for the ultimate adventure of consciousness, your eventual, aware transition into a purely spiritual existence. Your sleep is not simply downtime. It is training for your soul's eternal journey. Every single night, you are practicing the skills you will need for your final graduation from this physical existence into an unlimited spiritual life. If this exploration of ancient wisdom has opened your mind to new possibilities about your own consciousness and spiritual evolution, I invite you to continue on this journey with us. Share this perspective with anyone who has ever wondered about the deeper meaning of sleep and life's transitions. And I invite you to reflect on any vivid dreams or spiritual experiences you may have had during your sleep. Your experiences might be more significant than you ever realized. They could be preparing you for the greatest journey of all. Remember, death is not an ending. It is a conscious graduation to a higher way of being, and your sleep is the nightly practice for that ultimate spiritual adventure. Every night, you are being prepared for the most beautiful journey your soul will ever take.